Have AC Milan made the right decision in getting rid of Montella and bringing in Gattuso? And just how decisive is Napoli against Juventus? So finally it happened. Hashtag Montella out. And well, was it the best decision for AC Milan? Only time really will tell. But the truth is, Montella wasn't delivering. He wasn't doing well enough with the team at his disposal. After 236 million euros spent in the summer and the good work that the former Fiorentina coach did last season, everyone expected a bit more from him, of course, especially the AC Milan fans, especially after how mediatically incredible the summer was with all the passiamo le cose formali and just the many big players coming in over everybody, of course, Leonardo Bonucci, who is the first one to be underperforming, because if yes, Montella hasn't done his job too well in bringing the team together, in giving them that winning mentality that AC Milan have had for a century and that really need right now, well, the players haven't delivered either. And that's one of the main points. Will Gattuso be the right man to really get the best out of these players? We're talking about Bonucci, who won 6 leagues in a row. We're talking about Andres Silva, a striker who cost more than 40 million. Kalinic, who yes, has never been a top scorer, but he definitely was a different player at Fiorentina. Conti, one of the best fullbacks of the league. Of course, he's been injured. But all these, for various reasons, all these players haven't given Milan what was expected from the summer. So yes, Montella probably had to go. What could be argued is, was it the right time for this to happen, or should it have happened a month ago before the international break, giving time for the new manager to settle in? And really, will Gattuso stay for very long, or is he just a man for the moment and then maybe go for someone like Antonio Conte come next summer? And that's the main thing. If Milan just want Gattuso to carry on for the next 6 months, it means Milan have essentially lost another year, another season in this rebuilding of a team that ideally will want to fight for top European spots in the future again, as it used to do. And so yeah, another season's essentially gone if this is the case, unless Gattuso proves to be a coach nobody expected and someone who can really bring the team together, pick a starting 11, get them to win games every week. So a lot of questions really. If the starting question today was, well, have Milan made the right decision? A bunch of other questions come out of it. So it's hard to tell. In my opinion, well, getting rid of Montella was an absolute necessity by now, and hopefully the first impact a new coach can make, especially someone with the personality of Gattuso, could give them a bit of points consecutively, consistently, until at least Christmas, and then we'll see if Gattuso will have implanted something or if it was just that initial impact. But for sure, changing Montella was by now inevitable. It was the right decision. Is Gattuso the best man right now? Well, apparently he's the only one on the market. So hopefully for AC Milan fans, that is the case. Well, what kind of player is Daniele De Rossi? It's always been an ongoing question, because you have a player who at the age of 22 won the World Cup, scoring the penalty in the final, and has then been an absolute legend for Roma since. But in so many cases, he's had problems on the pitch. That same World Cup, when he elbowed USA's McBride, of course, missing out on that whole campaign from the second game in the group stage until the final. And then, of course, the times he's had problems in the derbies. I'm thinking about with Lazio's Mauri, and the most recent slap in the face to La Padula. And that just shows that clearly De Rossi is so personified in the Roma fan and player that sometimes he exaggerates. And even Totti has done that in his career. There's episodes where he just wasn't the same kind of charismatic figure you see when he talks to his teammates, when he talks in front of the cameras. De Rossi possibly even more so than Totti. And then they just kind of switch off their brain at points in the season. And these 2 points that De Rossi helped Roma to lose against Genoa, with essentially being sent off for no apparent reason and conceding the penalty to Genoa. Well, now Roma could essentially at the end of the season be looking back and think, well, if we'd won the game against Genoa, now we'd be talking about a Roma that maybe had won the Scudetto. This could happen by May. So De Rossi has been a negative impact on Roma far too many times possibly throughout his career, as much as he's been a great player as well, and obviously it's admirable to stay in the same team for so long. But if he could ever cancel out those signs of a bit of immaturity sometimes, and obviously having reached his age, it seems impossible. Now, just how decisive is Napoli against Juventus? Of course, it comes to that stage in the season where the top teams are already defined. We know who's going to fight for the title, we know who's going to fight for Europe, and we know who's going to try and avoid relegation, but not at that really vital point you would get in 5 or 6 months' time when every game is absolutely decisive. So as Buffon himself said, as Marotta said, it is a very, very important game, but there's still 20 games to go afterwards. So impossible for it to be so decisive. But if Napoli were to win and go 7 points clear of Juventus, well, that would potentially even kill the chances of Juve then fighting for the title realistically, even though when it happened 2 years ago, when Higuain scored the winner against Juventus at the San Paolo, the Bianconeri then started winning every single game and eventually won the title. So can it be different this year? Well, Napoli has shown a different consistency. It's the best ever start to a Serie A season, and well, they've not lost a game, and they showed that they can win in different ways, and that's the sign that Napoli have really stepped up. But of course, in front of them there's a team Juve that know that they could probably get a draw at the San Paolo and still be happy with it, knowing there'll be a game in 4 months' time, the return game at the Allianz Stadium, who could give them the points to then really challenge for the title till the very end. And the defense, Juve's defense, could make a difference if they were to go back to the solidity they had last season. The Juventus we've seen this year that scores a lot of goals. They've now reached 40 goals in the league, and only Manchester City and PSG have done the same at a European level, is perhaps too vulnerable for Napoli. But of course this game could go any way, and it is too early for it to be so decisive. But if Napoli were to even beat Juventus, the real question would then be who can stop them if they're able to maintain this level throughout the season. Thanks for watching. Let us know who will win between Napoli and Juve. Let us know what you think on Montella being sacked and Gattuso coming in. And of course, don't forget to follow us on social media, on Facebook and Twitter. Support us on Patreon and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Ciao for now.